Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Legends and Legacies, Tales of Phandelver, Episode 3, Cragmaw Hideout. Happening every once in a while on a Tuesday, right here on twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain. We are down one player tonight. Todd was not able to make it with us tonight due to a lack of internet. No magic portal to connect him to us. So, unfortunately, he will not be with us. So I will try my hardest not to kill him when it's out of his hands. Couple of announcements real quick, since Mike's slipping in there with the meta subscription to earn another domain die. We're gonna let me see if I can remember how to do this. Nope, that's not how to do it. You guys are now at 11 domain dice. That means that the mod is currently that is not right. What is going on? Oh, I'll have to check this after the fact, because for some reason the bonus... Oh, wait. Hold on. Got it. I got it. Wasn't working. So you guys got a... we'll get rid of those there. So you have 11 domain nuggets, which, of course, you know, domain dice or domain nuggets can be used to do a variety of things, such as re-rolling a d20 roll, spending 2 dice to make me re-roll a d20. 3 dice will allow you to use out of rest. Let me rephrase that in a way that makes sense. You can use hit dice outside of a rest to heal. 4 domain dice can be used to turn a failed death saving throw into a successful one. Unless it is a critical failure, it will cost you 8 domain dice to turn that. And finally, 5 domain dice, the Patron's Blessing, will turn any hit into a super crit, which is an automatic double max damage hit. Useful in a pinch. Domain dice are a way that you, the viewer, can participate in our streams. For a $5 tip, a 500-bit cheer, or a subscription, resubscription, or raid will earn domain nuggets for the players. We have down in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see below Brian there, Jasper's Game Day. You can type !Jasper in the chat, and you will see a link to Jasper's Game Day for direct donations. Jasper's Game Day is a charity founded here in Michigan by Fenway the Teen DM. It is dedicated to raising awareness of and the prevention of suicide through tabletop gaming. And any money raised to support Jasper's Game Day goes to benefit crisis centers, to help fund crisis centers around the country. To that same end, I have partnered with Initiative Coffee Company, which is one of Brian's alter egos, with Initiative Coffee Company's help action. You can, by typing !Coffee in the chat, get a link to where you can purchase Metade Roast Coffee. It is a medium Brazilian and Peruvian blend of coffee that is absolutely delicious. I helped to select that roast. And for every 12-ounce bag that you purchase, $3 of that goes to benefit Jasper's Game Day. Down in the lower right-hand corner, you will notice the D&D Beyond logo. That is because Mini Terrain Domain's Dungeons & Dragons games are powered by D&D Beyond. Thank you to D&D Beyond for granting us insider access. And that is why you can mouse over the screen and see the overlay that will show the characters' real-time hit points, conditions. You can click through and see their actual character sheets as well. If you type !merch you will get a link to the Mini Terrain Domain merchandise store on Teespring. Karen, show them one of the shirts that they can purchase. Karen is wearing the Mini Terrain Domain Tavern sign logo that I designed. I am wearing the Bardic College sweatshirt, and underneath, I'm not going to lift it up because things could get awkward, but I am wearing a Mini Terrain Domain logo t-shirt. Those are just 3 of the designs. We have over approximately 35 styles of 11 different designs over there. So you can head over there and show your Mini Terrain Domain pride. And coming soon will be Legends and Legacies merch as well. So be sure to check that out. And our final announcement is one that I will always be sure to have on these streams. And that is, if you are watching with us and you are struggling in some way, whether it be anxiety, depression, PTSD, whatever it may be, and you need somebody to talk to, you can type at any point during our streams, you can type !help. And a variety of resources will come up, and I'm always looking to expand that and make improvements on that. But for the time being, we've provided some direct phone numbers for, in the United States, the National Suicide Hotline, where trained professionals are standing by to talk to you. You can reach them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, toll free at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. Or you can text 741-741. In Canada, you can text the crisis text line, either the word connect or English, or parlay or French, to 686-868. Or you can contact the toll-free number, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 1-833-456-4566, and that call is available in both English and French. You matter, whether you believe that or not. Know that somewhere out there you matter to somebody. We think you matter, and we want you to get the help you need. Do not hesitate to use those resources. And that number does scroll by as part of the scroll at the bottom of the screen as well. All right. With all of that said, who wants to play some Dungeons and Dragons? That's what I thought. So, in our previous sessions, this motley band of individuals had all found themselves outside of, or rather just inside, the southern gate of Neverwinter, where their paths had converged. It so happened that the dwarf Gundren Rockseeker and his human companion Sildar Hellwinter, had been looking for somebody to take some supplies to Phandelver, which happens to be a town that Cauley Thrall is from. He's the son of a merchant couple there in town, and everybody looking to get out of town took him up on his offer of a few gold to escort the cart. En route, the next day, they discovered a couple of dead horses blocking the road, and they fell prey to a goblin ambush, or almost. They didn't really fall prey. Let me back that up. They anticipated the ambush, and they survived it mostly. But one goblin did take off running, and eventually they decided to follow along the path and see what was going on, because they determined that the horses belonged to Gundren and Sildar. They made their way towards the cave, and Cauley disguised himself to look like a goblin, and then proceeded to not matter as all heck broke loose with a couple of goblins that were providing sentry watch attacked, and then Undertow made a giant cube of ice appear in the entrance to the cave, with the stream water that was coming through that entrance. They began to hear a commotion as the goblins inside the cave were being roused. The first goblin to poke his head up over the top of the ice cube got blasted by Undertow, but they could hear the alarm bell. They could see the silhouettes of many more coming, and the last action that happened was that Kali cast light on the giant block of ice, and the area is now fittingly completely illuminated in a almost refracted red light, as the very ice itself is illuminated. Red light is blasting backwards into the cave, creating all kinds of shadows of goblins that are heading towards you. And light is spilling out all around you, presumably casting shadows and possibly illuminating you, as the five of you, Terra, the human fighter, Mei Li, the human warlock, Undertow, the cleric, Scurry, the tabaxi, Kali, the sorcerer, who currently looks like a goblin. I need you all to roll for initiative. All right, let's see. We've got... All right. Okay. Let's see. And I will be rolling for Kali. So you'll have to bear with me a moment as I'm flipping through. Let's see, Kali has a +2 to initiative. All right, so Kali has a 19. Terra, what did you get for your initiative? What'd you get? Uh-oh. Did we lose Yvonne? You're all standing so still. I thought I lost all of you.
Nope, I'm here.
Yvonne's saying that Zoom froze for her. All right, I'll get everybody else's, and we'll see if Yvonne ends up having to pop out and pop back in again. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Mei Li has a 19. Undertow, what'd you get?
18. I'm sorry, 17.
Scurry?
Oh, you guys are so proactive. I got a 9.
Mei Li, what's your dexterity?
+2.
Roll a d20 for me.
12.
All right, so you will go in front of Kali. Rolled an 8. And then we'll get Terra's when hopefully Yvonne can pop out and pop back in. Let's see. Yeah, she left a comment in the chat for Twitch. Okay, so we'll slot her in when she comes back in. I may have to jumble the cameras around again when she comes in as well. Speaking of which, there's now 2 of her. That should just take a second. That'll resolve itself. In the meantime, Tara, what did you get for your initiative?
9.
You got a 9 as well. What's your dexterity?
Let's see. +3.
Scurry, what's your dexterity?
19.
Your dexterity mod? Is
Oh,
plus
my
3?
dexterity mod. No, +4.
All right, so Scurry, you will go in front. All right, real quick before we get going, I'm going to go ahead and fix these cameras. The unfortunate side effect of when a
Sorry
player
about
drops.
that.
It's not your fault. Or at least it's not your fault in a way that I can blame you.
Well, I appreciate that.
What was funny is everybody was holding still while I was trying to see if you were frozen, and everybody was so still I thought that I had frozen.
Oh,
All right, there we go. Everybody's back in their spots for now. Okay, so here is our order. The goblins are going to go first, followed closely by Melee, and then Cully, and then Undertow, Scurry, and Tara. Real quick, because at the end of the last session, a goblin had poked its head up, and Undertow had blasted it. Cully had cast the light on the ice cube. I'm going to give you all a free round to quickly figure out what you're going to do. So, real quickly, you have a very limited time to discuss tactics amongst yourselves.
Jake, if I'm looking at the ice block, what do I see? How
You
many
see,
silhouettes?
basically, you see what looks like a giant red light
Mhm.
made of ice. You can see on the other side of it distorted silhouettes refracted and bouncing around the inside of the cave. You can't get a clear view of the cave beyond because it is a 5-foot thick block of ice. It looks like 1987, yes. With the red light, the alarm might as well be a klaxon sounding off at this point.
Can I make out how many silhouettes?
Make a perception check at disadvantage.
Oh, how about advantage? Oh, good. 16. 21.
It's hard to be sure, but
Oh, come on.
as you are looking, and you're kind of, your cat eyes are just locked on that space above, that crawl space above the ice cube, and you're seeing on the walls and where it curves upward, you're seeing the silhouettes and the shadows bouncing around, and you estimate that there are at least a half a dozen, possibly more, but you can't tell if you're seeing the same goblins more than once or if there's multiples. But you do know for a fact there are at least a half a dozen goblins. What about the rest of you?
I would like to take cover directly in front of the ice block and kind of like duck down and like pull the goblin body off of like the top ledge so that we can just use the ice block as a funnel.
So you're basically running up to the ice block, sort of back up against the ice block, reach up, grab that goblin, and just pull his body down?
Yes.
Okay.
And be ready to sacred flame like the Dickens.
Okay.
I believe I was on the wall next to because there was a slight gap, you said, between the ice block and the cave wall, if I remember.
Yeah, you've basically, I mean, it's real slight. You've got maybe a foot on either side of it. Because this is a 5-foot cube, and you've got about 7 feet of opening there.
Yeah, I believe Amelie was hiding around the
like just to the left of the entrance there, right?
Yeah, ready
Yep.
with her her katana for whatever comes through.
Right. And Tara, what are you doing?
I am notching my crossbow with a bolt, and I'm just lifting up, getting ready to fire as they come through.
All right. So as you all quickly move into position, and I think Collie is staying near you, Tara, and he is. I don't know how he intended to do that. Okay. He is standing next to you, and he is going to. Looks like he is readying some sort of spell. So, you hear all of the commotion coming from inside the cave. It's echoing, a lot of confused voices, and after a moment, a goblin begins crawling across the top. And he is going to try to scramble out into the open air, which means he's going to pass by your right over top of you. He's passing right by you, Undertow, and attempting to, because he doesn't see you there. Well, let me see if he sees you there. He doesn't see you there. You will get an opportunity attack on him.
Excellent. Is this an advantage because he doesn't see me?
Sure. I'll buy that for $1.
That is an 18 plus 3, 21 to hit. I'm sorry. It's 18 plus 1, 19 to hit.
Ooh, so you needed that 21. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right,
you
this goblin. I rolled a 2 on my d6, so 1 point of damage.
And what were you attacking him with?
A mace.
So you kind of just get a swing as he leaps over you, and you just catch him with it like on the edge of the foot, and he goes into this sort of clumsy roll, comes up, turns around, and he is going to take a swing at you. Oh man, that was a higher number, and then it rolled to that.
This is fortuitous.
Yeah, that's going to be a 10.
10 surprisingly does not hit the cleric.
Does not hit the cleric. So yeah, it's a very clumsy. As he comes up, his scimitar just sort of reaches out, not even really aiming, just at whatever was there. Melee, another one comes around the side right by you, squeezing between the ice block and the stone wall, and you will get an opportunity attack on him as he tries to squeeze past you. Another one is coming out on the other side, Tara, that you could take a shot at as well. And I'll call these, instead of, you're not really using your reaction in this in the sense of a yes, I can use D&D words, opportunity attacks, but it's more like you had readied actions in preparation for this. So both Melee and Tara, you can take attacks on these.
Okay.
Does 13? I rolled a 13 to hit.
13 does not hit. He ducks, and your sword cuts like ice chips just go spraying out as he ducks, and reflexively he is going to swing his scimitar at you. That is going to be a dirty 20 to hit you. And that is going to do 4 points of piercing damage.
You wound me, good sir.
Scurry, what were you doing? Where were you? You had kind of gotten a count of them, but I don't think we really clarified where you were.
So I'm off to the left of the cave, kind of hiding in the brush right there.
Okay. Tara, how'd you do on your shot?
18.
That's a hit.
Okay. And that's 6 points of damage.
Tara, this goblin comes out on the other side. You see him, and your crossbow bolt, you see it, and it actually, you just catch the edge of the ice, and there's a spray of ice chips that are like shrapnel in this thing's eye, along with the crossbow bolt that goes into its eye. There's a spray of blood that shoots across it, and he drops to the ground. Scurry, do you have a ranged weapon readied? Nope.
Hold on. Nope. So we have 2 goblins out currently. Is that right?
Currently 2 that have made it so far.
Okay. And 1 has come out by the left side of the ice, correct?
Right.
Okay. So with that, Scurry would jump out from the...
Hold on, because it's not Scurry's turn yet. I'm just checking.
Oh, come on.
I'm just checking to see where you are.
Sure,
as the rest of them are coming through.
Oh, the rest.
Or to see if they're going to come through. Another one does pop up on top of the ice. You can't see it under tow. And it turns back. Remind me, does anybody here speak Goblin?
Scurry does.
And I gotta see what Cully's languages are. Nope, he doesn't speak Goblin. Scurry, you speak Goblin. So the Goblin that kind of pulls up on top of the ice cube and is looking around. He's calling back, but you hear Scurry. There's at least 4 or 5 of them out here. They're hurting us. One is dead. And no more are coming out. And the 2 that did come out already made their attacks. So now that is going to take us to melee. The one that stabbed you is right in front of you.
So melee is going to turn and strike out at him while she is saying this word in a language that probably nobody else understands. It's from her native tongue. But as she does so, her katana kind of glows with a kind of a green smoke almost as this hit, as she tries to hit this goblin in front of her. Oh, that's a good roll. I like that one. That would be a 24.
Yes, that is going to hit.
Okay. So what she's casting is green flame blade. So the second creature that was within 5 feet of this first one, if the one on the ice block happens to be, is going to take 3 points of fire damage as it leaps from the blade to that creature as I'm hitting this one.
Okay.
Okay, so, and this one takes 10 points of slashing damage.
And then the fire leaps to the other one?
Yeah, 3 points of fire to the other one.
All right, so you slash out with your sword and you cleave this goblin in half. As your sword cuts through this, there's this burst of flame, and it's as if his blood itself is sprays and ignites and strikes the goblin up top, and you can now hear that goblin again under tow and everybody else screaming as he takes some fire damage from that. Is that your turn then?
That is my turn, yes. I will, again, kind of retreat behind that rock, so I use it kind of as cover, so they can't just pop shot me.
Okay. Asking if that's your turn. I forget you guys are level 1. There's not a lot you can do. Though, well, let me rephrase that. There's not a ton you can do. There's still a lot you can do, as demonstrated by what you're doing. Cully is going to look at the one that is clearly visible, that made it through, that Undertow had managed to just barely hit. And he moves forward a little bit, enough to, as he holds out his hand, there is it almost looks black in this red light from this ice, as he holds out his hand like this, and you just see a cloud of vapor emit from his hand. And let's see, his con save. The goblin quickly, you see, turns and covers its mouth. It succeeded on its con save, so it will not take the damage from the poison spray. And then Undertow, it is now your turn. That goblin is covering his mouth, is now he's in front of you, sort of at a, he didn't turn his back on you, but he's kind of turned sideways. Mm-hmm. And you do have one above you on the ice that has taken fire damage.
The one above me on the ice, would you say he's his maneuverability is limited because he's jammed between an ice block and a ceiling of a cave?
Yes, because they essentially have to, anybody that goes over that, including the goblins, has to go prone to make that transition. I
need him to make a dex save. Presumably a disadvantage because he's prone.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. That's going to be a 13.
11, 8, 3. Oh, he made it. Okay. I will do nothing and cry because he has successfully.
You tried to sacred steam him again?
Successfully evaded my sacred steam.
He sort of does this sudden, it's almost like the ice begins to sort of, and he rolls out of the way as the steam rises, and he just misses it. Or
one day the Tide Mother will give me real strength.
Scurry, it is now your turn. There is the goblin on top of the ice that's visible. There's one more that's in front, that's between Cully and Undertow, and however many more that are still inside the cave. What would you like to do, Scurry?
Is the cloud of gas still surrounding?
Nope, it looked like it was picture like a vape, like somebody just exhaled and it quickly dissipates.
Gotcha. So seeing the one on the ground, Scurry is going to dart out from the shrubs and go for the goblin's throat with her claws. And that is a 19.
Yep, that's gonna hit.
Okay, and that does 8 slashing damage.
Scurry flashes out from cover, and there's 2 pinpoints of light, the red light reflecting off of Scurry's eyes. There's a flash of claws, a spray of blood. Undertow, I imagine you and Cully both feel this warm goblin blood as Scurry lands, barely making a sound, as the goblin drops, its throat completely ripped out in the slash from Scurry.
As I do this, I'm close to Undertow and Cully, correct?
Yes, you're between them.
At that point, I'll translate. There's at least 3 more up there, if not more. And they know our count outside, so be wary.
Tara, you have a clear line of sight on the one. Oh yeah, that one's dead too. Clear line of sight on the one that's on top of the ice.
All right, I'll go ahead and aim my crossbow and take a shot at it. 10.
Again, this goblin rolls to the side, and the crossbow bolt shink right above your head, Undertow, a couple feet into the ice. Chips of ice sort of rain down around you.
Sorry.
Let's see. Let's see. Tara, roll me a d4.
Big old whopping 1.
Well, that's good for you. As the goblin on top that just dodged, you hear, and Scurry, you hear the command as it says, "There's one right here on the side." And he sort of points towards where Mei Li is. And another goblin is going to come out of that area. And as he comes out, he has his crossbow at the ready. And he begins peering around to his right along that side of the cave wall. As he comes out, his back is exposed to you, Undertow, because he's looking for Mei Li. So you will get an opportunity attack on him.
Oh, you missed it when I said, "Oh, a crit. That's cool."
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, it's because I was still muted because I'm a terrible muter. So I rolled a 6, so 8 and 6 is 14 minus 1 because we have a combined strength of 40 for the 5 of us. So 13 damage.
Wow. Yeah, he comes around and you're attacking with a mace, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a sickening wet thud as you bring your mace down on his head and just crush this goblin's head. And Mei Li, you hear a crossbow bolt ricochet off the rock somewhere overhead, nowhere near you, as it reflexively fires the crossbow. The goblin that is on top of the ice starts yelling frantically and withdraws into the cavern. And what you all can hear is this more of this. And Scurry, you hear, "It's a slaughterhouse. We have to retreat. Somebody tell Clark." And no more goblins are coming out at the moment.
So Scurry will reiterate to the group what she heard. They've retreated back into the cave, and there's something called a Clark.
Mei Li, it's your turn.
Hearing this from Scurry, Mei Li is going to kind of poke her head around the corner to see what she could see past the ice block into the cave to see if there's any retreating goblins that she can see.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Yeah, that's a 5.
Actually, it would be at advantage though because of the illuminated. I mean, the whole thing's illuminated in light.
Yeah, so that rolls a 3, so it's still a 5.
So as you peer in, it's a pretty narrow area, and all you can see are shadows. You can see what appears to be about 20-25 feet into the cavern that there's a cave, like a passageway that goes off to the left, and the stream seems to go slightly to the right inside this cavern, and you hear them running off. You hear splashing sounds of their feet, and you see the shadows sort of reflected on the walls. and you hear their shouts. You can now hear that the wolves' howls that you had heard earlier are frantic. Between the alarm that was sounding and all the sounds, you hear echoing all around in there. And that sounds much closer, but you do not see any goblins.
Yes, Amelie will, she'll kind of retreat again back to where she's been taking up her stance there, back against the rocks, and would just look towards Scurry and Undertow and Tara and Collie, and basically now what? Because she's not going in there by herself. But she would also nod to Undertow for the nice hit that saved her life.
Collie just looks to you, Undertow, looks to everybody else. I can keep this light up if we need it, or I can make it go away. What do you see, Melee? And you said you told them exactly what you saw?
Yeah, I see nothing. Yeah.
So Collie's kind of looking at you guys. Do you want the light to be left up, or?
I would say there's no reason to drop it. Like, they know we're here.
All right, what do you want to do, Undertow?
I think I want to squeeze on top of the ice block. And just camp the dogs until they're just meat, I guess. Try to like stay out of reach of their bites and just like toss some sacred steams at them until they no longer are biting at me.
So you climb up onto the ice and you don't see the dogs. You hear them. Now that you're on top, you see in the illumination, you see like light reflecting everywhere off of the stream. The cavern seems to be roughly 10 feet wide. Immediately to your right is an opening with some rough-hewn steps, and it opens into another area that disappears into shadow, and it's in this side chamber that from which you hear the barking of the dogs, but you can't actually see them. They sound really close.
Sure.
And you can hear the sound of chains. You can hear their like it sounds like they're scrabbling at the gravel as they're trying to break free. And you can also see that 25 feet up, you see that it there is a passageway off to the left. Let me just check something real quick and see. That would be... Well, let's see. That's 12, 9, and 12. Nope. You just hear the sounds of these dogs or wolves or whatever they are, and you hear the sounds of their chains and the scrabbling around, but you do not see them.
In that case, I'd like to cast light on a candle that I have 10 of. I know that seems silly, but the light spell lights more than a candle does. And I'd like to try to like toss it into like up those stairs as far as I can.
All right.
To try to be able to see in that room.
So go ahead and just give me a dexterity check. Basically like an attack roll.
Oh, okay. With proficiency or no?
Yeah, with proficiency.
Okay.
As proficient as one can be at throwing candles.
19.
Okay. I mean, the only reason I'm asking for a roll is because you are lying prone on an ice cube.
Right. Yeah.
So 19.
It's
so that's
chilly.
gonna get you. Yeah, you're able to toss it in, and it hits, and you can now see the silhouette of at least one dog or wolf. You still can't see it, but you can see the silhouette as it occasionally passes in front of the light. So it looked like when you threw this candle, it hit something in the room, bounced off, and sort of bounced back towards you, but into the room. And now one of these dogs or wolves is either straddling this light or moving in front of its light source so that you can see the shadow looming quite large and quite ferocious.
It sounds like they're chained up?
It does sound like they're chained up.
Okay. I will finagle my way out of this ice hole and rejoin the group.
So, so you're okay. You're coming back outside.
I'm not going in alone.
All right. So then that takes us to Scurry.
What did you see, oh strange blue sea god?
I saw some terrestrial creatures. I believe you call them dogs. They are chained up, which maybe you prefer. I don't know beyond that. I'm less worried about the dogs now, but I don't know if someone's up there to unchain them.
Can you bring the seawall down?
No. No,
Why?
Because
I brought it up.
That's not a thing that the Tide Mother has given me the power to do yet. I can create barriers and walls, but I cannot remove them once they're there. Admittedly, it could have been thought out a little better, I suppose. But the Tide Mother has granted me the resources she has granted me, and it is my responsibility to stay alive through them. And I feel like I did that effectively.
I just stare at you dumbfounded.
Show me how to teleport, Shadow Monk. Oh, you can't yet? Interesting. Funny how that happens.
Tara, what about you?
I'm actually the light's still going. I'm trying to retrieve a couple of bolts.
I will say that you can recover half of any expended bolts.
Okay, so I got one back.
Okay, yeah, you took 2 shots. So you find the other one, but it's broken from the impact.
Okay.
All right, Cully is kind of looking at everybody. They obviously know that we're here. He kind of looks around on the ground at the 3 dead goblins. We've at least put a dent in their numbers, but they know we're here.
I have a question. This giant ice block. No, bear with me here. How attached to the ground is it?
It's basically.
Could I use the shape water cantrip to increase the flow of water and rush it out? Or further in? I don't know which way the stream goes.
The stream is flowing out of the cave.
So it's a pull issue, not a push issue.
Correct. I'm just looking. You can instantaneously move or otherwise change the flow of the water as you direct up to 5 feet in any direction. This doesn't have enough force to cause damage. You cause water to form into simple shapes. You change water's color. You freeze the water. Okay. So because it says that you can, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to yes and this, or yes but this. Okay. Yes, you can increase the flow of water on the other side. It's essentially sitting in the stream, because it is a heavy cube of ice, I'm going to have you make a d20 roll and add your spellcasting modifier.
With proficiency or no?
Yeah, whatever your spellcasting mod is, which is your proficiency plus...
Okay, so 18.
Okay. It takes some effort. Normally, you have no trouble moving water. But you're trying to move the water and the water that is solidified into ice.
So just before this happens, I'm going to take a step back and say, good news. The Tide Mother has just now granted me the ability to move this giant block of ice because she's so benevolent.
Sure she is.
Keep in mind the benevolence of our Tide Mother.
Undertow,
move things.
before you move it, can I do one thing? And
probably.
Maylee would like
Too
to...
late.
Too late now. She would kind of hiss under her breath, and all of a sudden, kind of like it's almost like a mist kind of forms around her back, and then reappears on the other side of the block. Basically, I am I'm calling forth my familiar on the other side of the ice block, and I would like it to do some reconnaissance for us on the other side before we get rid of the block.
What is your familiar?
It's effectively was it a poisonous snake? But it's shaped like a small Chinese dragon, almost, is what it kind of looks like.
All right. So yeah, you can essentially, if I recall correctly, that you can see through its eyes and senses, but you yourself, or wait, no, is this? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can see and hear what it says, and I can talk to it telepathically, but while I'm seeing and hearing what it says, I can no longer see or hear what's going around me.
So when you do this, do your eyes do like that cool, they just suddenly go...
Yeah, I would imagine like Mealy herself has these kind of almost bizarre eyes to begin with. She's got one amber and one green eye. And all of a sudden, as she's talking to you, Undertone, she says, like, can I do one thing? And she starts hissing. Her eyes just kind of they don't like roll back or anything, but they just white over. So they become sightless. And this mist forms and then disappears and reappears on the other side of the ice block. And you probably may not be able to see what it is because it's kind of small on the other side, but
yeah, I don't think anybody would be able to really tell what it is, but you now can see through this thing's eyes. It is in the water, but that's okay. It has a swim speed. So looking around, you can see to the right, there's a small set of stairs, and you see that there's a cavern that is about roughly 20 feet by 20 feet, inside of which you can see 3 angry-looking wolves all chained to stakes in the ground, and they are pulling against these stakes viciously as they bark and scrabble. Though with the passing of time and with the goblins sort of moved away, they don't seem quite as ferocious as they first were. You've got that 25 feet ahead. There's that, well, now 20 feet ahead. There's that cavern off to the left. The creek continues up and to the right. Which direction do you want your snake to slither?
Okay, so there's just the one room with the dogs, and then you said the river's going the other way.
There's the one room to the right with the dogs. There's the river keeps going up and around, and there is to the left. There is another passageway, or you can follow the river up to the right.
No, let's check out the passageway. I can only go 100 feet from me. My familiar can only go to.
All right, so that'd
Before I
be
lose this.
5, 10, 15, 20. Mhm. As your snake familiar slithers into that passage, you do see that it looks very steep. Loose rocks and gravel line the bottom, and it looks like it would be difficult for your snake form to climb up it. But peering up from the creek up that way, you can see as it goes up a ways and then levels out and goes up even further, you can see a faint flickering firelight coming up from that way. But it doesn't look like you're... Well, I'll do it this way. If you want to try to go that way in your snake form, you will need to make a athletics check. It would just be a strength check.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably good enough. And then the snake would go follow the river or the
All right, let's see. 5,
stream a
10,
little bit.
15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Oh, okay. So your snake follows the river all the way up and around, just a little ways around the bend. There is across the top, up above, probably about 15 feet over the river, there's a wooden bridge crossing over top. Not like bridging the river directly, but it seems to be from like crossing from one cavern to another higher up. You continue following it around, slithering up and around some small I'm going to use the word rapids, but this is a creek, so they're not like whitewater rapids or anything like that. And then you come around and there is you see in the water what appears to be just a wall of stones, almost like piled field stones, with some of the water leaking around it. Moving along the edges, then you emerge across these out of the water and across these stone stairs into a wide open area, a cavern that is probably about 40 feet across. You can see a small waterfall at the far end, filling 2 pools that are lined and circled with stones. Both of these pools are filled up, and the water trickles out of that, forming the stream that leads down. And it's about this point that your familiar is reaching the edge of its ability to... It's almost like your everything starts to go foggy if it moves any further away from you. In this cavern, though, you do see 4 goblins that are, though you don't understand what they're saying, they appear to be talking to somebody further away that you can't quite see. And one of them is gesturing wildly at the pools of water.
So I think this Meili would then just basically call back the familiar, and what that would look like is like momentarily Meili's doing something, and then this mist again forms around her back and her eyes turn back to normal. And she would drop down to the ground and start drawing out everything that she just saw and let everybody know what is in store for us as soon as we move the block.
All right, and I'm sending in the both in your chat, Karen, and in the Twitter chat an update of what you see. There's one more coming. Capture the second part. I do this in pieces, so I'm not showing you everything.
Or,
There we
you
go.
know, you could show us everything. That's okay.
All right, so you should now have an update. The second one is a continuation of the first one, heading to the right. You should see where the overlap is on the two. So that covers everything that you saw through your familiar's eyes.
Are you suggesting that these goblins have the gall to attempt to block the current the Tide Mother wishes? They've stoned up the stream in a way that blocks it from flowing its natural course. They must be destroyed. There's no choice.
Are you going to move the block now?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Okay.
I thought you couldn't move the block. I thought that was the point.
That was before I came up with the genius idea of using shea water again to blast it out of the hole.
Okay,
and that's when he
gotcha.
says that about the Tide Mother had given him the ability.
That's
and
true.
It's a combination of the water suddenly swelling on the other side and pushing it. It doesn't come rushing out. It's more like the water swells up behind it, begins flowing from the other side, spraying out, and then you just see it and hear it sort of until there's room to pass by it on the other side.
This is proof that she requires us to go fix the mistake these goblins have made. Also, perhaps we can feed the dogs something to get them to be cool.
What would we feed these dogs?
I have
We must
rations.
have them where I come from.
I have rations, but I suppose like meat would probably be better.
I'm fairly certain that somebody cut a part of the it was Scurry that cut that cut some of the haunches off of one of the horses. So you do have horse meat.
This was all an elaborate setup, Jake. We already knew this.
Metagaming done right. So we all know the layout of the cave. What's where, correct?
With the
Jake?
exception of that passage to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And in the area with the pools of water, there does appear to be an opening to the south that you don't know what's that way.
So do we go to the dogs or do we avenge the Tide Mother?
She'll be fine as long as we take care of it before we leave. I don't want to do something crazy like block off the only exit or something.
No, you'd never do that.
No. I blocked off the only entrance. That's entirely different.
Yes.
One leaves us stuck in a place and one leaves us stuck outside of a place.
Okay.
We must pass by the dogs to carry on to where the pool is. So we could either pacify them or deal with them before we go further.
Kali says, maybe if you've got a way to feed them, maybe it'll calm them down enough that they won't bother us.
Oh, yes. I forgot about you, dumb slave master. Here's some horse meat. Go feed the nice doggies. Yes. I hand him the horse meat and encourage him to go feed the dogs.
He kind of looks at you like, I wasn't exactly suggesting.
No, you go ahead. Enjoy.
I thought you were quite skilled at handling animals, Kali. Perhaps
Correct.
You should go handle the dogs.
Mm-hmm. Go make friends.
Not sure where you got that idea, but I will do this.
Drove a horse. The horse was bigger than the dogs. I bet you'll be even better at it.
He just gives you a look over his shoulder as he's taking his horse meat. And is anybody else going inside the mouth of the cave to get a look at these dogs, or are you just sending Coley in?
Oh, I assume we'll all go in
Yep.
a very healthy,
Distance.
give him a very healthy lead. But
Yes.
we'll
Yep.
follow.
Yeah. Giving him about a 10-foot, no, 20 feet.
Okay.
Breadth. Yeah, 20 feet breadth, and then we'll follow behind.
Well,
Mostly, we don't want to get in his way.
No, we don't want to
looking at the
inhibit his
map-
progress.
Looking at the map, the wolves are inside that cavern to the right, so you don't exactly have to move right by them. But he will walk up to the entrance, and he kind of pulls back real quick and looks back at you, and there's 3 of them.
And I'll go up to him and I'll pat him on the shoulder and I'll say, "Well, handle one at a time then." And I'll give him guidance.
Oh, nice.
He's going to take out his dagger, and he's going to cut this horse meat up into 3 pieces. And so the guidance, what does that do again?
Gives him +1 D4 on a skill check.
Just a single one, correct?
Yeah. I mean, it's an instantaneous cantrip, so I plan on doing it every time he tries. But
Okay. Because he's going to try each one of them.
if that requires me to be not 20 feet away from him, I suppose that's acceptable. I will risk it.
I mean, he's not going in the room. He's basically just standing about 10 feet away from you guys by the entrance there, and he's going to go, okay, I'm just going to throw it into him. And let's see. He has a +2 to animal handling, plus a D4. So, okay. That's a 25 on the first one.
Yes, perfect job, Cully. Try it again.
It's an 11, 12. That's a 13 on the second one.
Try better on the third one.
That's a 17 on the third one. So what happens is he throws the first horse meat steak in, and one of the wolves just snatches it out of the air. He throws the second one, and the other wolf grabs at it. And there's one wolf that starts scrambling at the other two as he throws this third steak, and it skitters across the floor, and it's just out of reach of the one. And it starts to snap at the other two. And then as it's moving, its chain catches on one of them. They start snapping at each other. And in the flurry, the first wolf manages to get a hold of that other steak. And in just sort of doing that, shaking its head back and forth, enough of the meat is flying around that all 3 of them have meat. And they are placated. They seem to be pretty occupied with what they have.
I whisper to Collie, "Oh, see, easy. They're just puppies."
Well, we better hurry. I mean, there's whatever that is, but I don't want to go in there. And he points across to the opposite end of that room, and there does appear to be sort of a chimney of rock leading upward. Just make a note. Maybe it comes down from somewhere else.
I will I'll make a point to take notes as we go, because I feel it is my duty in search of knowledge to document things.
And Cully just sort of pats you on the shoulder. Okay, you do that. Let's go. What is the order that you are all going to go? Who's going to lead this group?
I feel like Scurry would offer to. What is the lighting like in the cave at this point?
There is a bit of you guys went just at about 2 a.m. And the moon was high enough that some moonlight is filtering, but also nobody dispelled the light on the ice cube, so there's a lot of red light filtering in as well. So you can see, at least for a ways, as it curves around to the right, it starts to delve into shadow. But you have dark vision.
That's right. So I would, Scurry would, I can see further into the dark. I'll lead the way. So I don't know what the order is after that, but I take lead.
Go for it.
I don't know who else has. I don't think anyone else has dark vision because you're all humans, and I'm better,
Special.
but still not great.
Special.
I guess I'll go second because I have armor. That makes sense in my brain.
I would probably follow, I guess, relatively close behind Undertow. I don't want to be too far away from anybody, so I'd probably go third.
Go last.
All right.
I'll follow up the rear with, have my crossbow, at the ready just in case.
All right. Scurry.
So, Jake, what do I see again as
So,
I'm going up this
as you
pathway
begin
to the
moving,
right?
you do see that there is a passageway off to your right, or excuse me, to your left, that seems to be a series of loose rocks and steps leading up a ways, and you can see about 20 feet or so up that there is some flickering firelight coming from there. Following the river, you can see where it curves around to the east, that about another 20 feet or so ahead and 15 feet up, there is a wooden bridge that crosses from one cavern to another overhead, and the water continues up and around to the side. Give me a perception check.
That's 9, 14.
You hear from that bridge a single word in Goblin. All of you hear this Goblin word, but only Scurry understands it. Is the word now. And you all hear this sort of clattering sound. And then you hear and Scurry, you see as a flood of water is rushing towards all of you. And that's where we're going to take a break. As water is flooding through the cave towards all of you.
Tide Mother.
The Tide Mother seems to be coming for you, Undertow. So we're going to take a quick break, 5-10 minutes, so that everybody can refresh beverages, bio break, whatever you got to do. Thank you, everybody who's tuned in so far, for hanging out with us. And we will return in just a few minutes to conclude this session. And we're back. All right. So, as we left you, there is a wall of water rushing down the cavern towards you.
I would like to stop it from rushing toward us and make it rush gently around us instead.
Let me just see.
If at any time you decide I'm abusing this mostly useless cantrip, you let me know.
Oh, I will let you know. So
It so rarely comes up.
yeah, you wouldn't expect that it would be so integral to your character so early in this middle of the woods in a cave. Let's see. All right, hold on. I hit something and I lost it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is the downside to having so many D&D Beyond tabs open is when you go to flip between the 6 tabs that are open and you accidentally hit the X that closes the one that has the adventure in it. I'm having to find my place again, so bear with me one moment.
No worries. I'm causing distractions while you cover. Yes, I believe the youth call this vamping.
Yes, vamping.
Making weird Dracula fingers. More Elvis Dracula, but it's fine.
All right. So, as the water is rushing towards you, what exactly are you trying to do?
So if I'm looking at this map correctly, there's like this walkway to the left of the river.
Yes,
That
and you
seems
are
like it will
more
very
you are
soon be
more or less
underwater.
in parallel with that.
Sure, and it seems like that will very soon be underwater. Yes, no, mostly.
Partially.
Sure. What's the range on this? 30 feet. I'm gonna try to change the flow of the water 30 feet up so it rushes against the left wall in a way that doesn't flush back out to swamp this path. If
All
that
right.
makes sense. Like the goal is to get the water to basically stay where it is, but just faster. Yeah.
So you're trying to redirect it to that passage.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is allowable via the spell, but to what degree is up to you.
I'm going to have you again roll a d20 and add your spellcasting modifier.
Yeah. 24. The Tide Mother is with me. What's that?
Definitely.
I don't need 11 levels for divine intervention. It's right here, right now, ladies.
Yeah, you just keep using that divine intervention in this way, and we'll see how long that lasts. And it's going to run out sooner or later.
What could the Tide Mother possibly have to say about my goodwill on her behalf?
The DC for you to be able to maneuver that much water was a DC 20. So this water comes rushing, and it's rushing at all of you, and I can just see this scurry just turning and looking at Undertow, like not even getting the words out, like help, before you just what does it look like as you begin to shape this water and maneuver it out of the way?
Sure. So I think I'm just like doing a lot of like, not like water bending, but just like crowd control kind of motions. Like you over there, no, keep going, stop, you come this way. And then like it just starts rushing down around me. And I'd like to think that a 24 is enough of a roll that I can put a little stank on it. So when a big like splash of water hits the sidewall and comes straight for Scurry, I can be like, oh no, that's not what we're doing, and push it back in the river as well. Because I know she's not keen about being damp. She's mentioned that several times, and I wanna help her feel safe.
She does stare longingly and very appreciatively at Undertow while he's doing this, and just like in awe.
It happens very quickly. And the water, it's not like a sudden, like the floodgates have been opened and continuous water is flowing. It's just a sudden surge of water. And you do this. All you feel is the water around your ankles rises momentarily up halfway up your shins as you otherwise redirect it. It does, after a moment, it does sort of begin to kind of spill out of that area, flood back into this, and continue out of the mouth of the cave. So you do manage to completely redirect the flow and prevent yourselves from being washed away. Also, Scurry, you are aware that there is a single goblin on the bridge 15 feet overhead that signaled to the others, apparently, to release this water.
I turn to both Tara and Chumeli. Quick! There's a goblin on the bridge. Shoot him down.
And at that, Melee would definitely basically loose an eldritch blast towards the creature.
Tara, would you take a shot as well?
Yeah, I'm going to aim and shoot at.
Both of you are going to do so at disadvantage because you do not have a... the light's not quite making its way fully around here, so there's barely a dim light filtering in this area.
Oh, 19 to hit.
Let's see. 15.
Both of you hit.
Oh, my dice like me. That's 10 force damage from the Eldritch Blast as it just lights him up.
And I hit for 11 points.
So...
he's really dead.
Melee
really
suddenly,
dead.
As Scurry barely gets the words out, Melee just shoots this Eldritch Blast. The goblin gets hit and just instantly does a backflip off the bridge. And in the brief illumination of the Eldritch Blast, Tara takes a shot with the crossbow, and you see it as it's flipping over, thunks into it. The goblin splashes into the water, and in the last remaining surge flow of this water, this dead goblin floats past all of you out towards the mouth of the cave. All right, you've got the path ahead of you following the river, or you have that incline to the left where Undertow directed some of the water, and previously you had seen the flickering glow up at the top. Which way would you like to go?
You said there were 4 goblins in that room with the rocks?
That is correct.
Shall we avenge the Tide Mother now?
I mean, I feel like they learned their lesson, but they could learn it more, I guess.
I look to Melee and Tara just to confirm.
Melee would nod that she agrees with going in and avenging the Tide Mother.
Tara,
Right.
Tara looks at you and go, let's go kill some goblins.
Goblins.
Cully looks to you, Scurry. Cully's still in his goblin form. How would I say got him in goblin?
Yeah, sure, like that.
What? How did that go again? All right, hold on. And Cully cups his hands over his mouth and says, and a moment later, you hear, they seem to be celebrating. Yay, we got him. Stay there and keep an eye out for more.
They say, yeah, you got him. Keep an eye out for more. Tell him, which means, come on out to celebrate with us. How'd that go? That was
I rolled
really
a natural
good
20 on his performance check. They say, you stay watch. Let us know if we need to release more water. Celebrate on your own.
Oh, come on. They're not coming out.
You translate all of that?
Yes, I did.
What? Release more water? Yes.
You want them to release more water?
Maybe scoot over and then yes.
We just told them it was all clear.
Okay.
I mean,
we can release the water ourselves once they're dead.
Okay. So I motion for everyone to step aside from the waterway and to leave Undertow. And then I tell Cully, which translates into, just kidding, there's more coming, release water now.
While he's shouting, I'm gonna
do what?
While he's shouting, I'm gonna lay down in the river because I'm also amphibious and with a swim speed. So I'm gonna use the river as cover to hide from the goblins and surprise them.
Well, you just told Cully to tell him to release more water.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be
covering our
deeper,
bases.
but
I'm not going to make this decision, but I'm going, because they're not my domain dice to spend. But Cully's performance roll that time was a 4 on the die for a total of 7. So it's your choice.
I mean, don't we want them to know that we're here anyway?
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter.
Let's just go with it.
All right. You don't hear any response this time. Let's see. All right. Scurry, give me a perception check. Actually, everybody give me a perception check.
21.
16.
9.
Scurry, with your dark vision, you can see as 2 more goblins come around the bend, moving cautiously. Undertow, you can feel the vibrations through the water as one of them is walking, sloshing through the water. There's just two of them. They're moving around cautiously. Everybody give me a stealth check, since
19.
14.
17.
I'm not seeing it on D&D Beyond. Does scale mail give you disadvantage on stealth checks?
it should show in your, if you click on your armor.
Yeah, I brought up scale mail. It doesn't say anything about disadvantage.
Then
So I guess
no.
no. Okay.
I think scale is just is not disadvantage.
Okay. Stealth 16.
Okay. And Melee, you got a 14. You see Scurry as they come around, as suddenly they both, actually one of them is sort of splashing in the water, not really paying that much attention, and then the other one grabs him by the shoulder and points towards Melee. And he reaches up and pulls a short bow off and begins to grab an arrow.
Where am I in relation? Like how far?
You're probably about 20 feet away.
Okay. Well, Melee's right next to me, correct?
Undertow is in the water. Yeah, Melee would be near you.
Okay. So if I move, they're gonna see me. Okay. In response to that, I'm going to get as low as I can and use my feline agility to double my speed to sort of surprise the goblin and go for his head with my short sword.
I love Tabaxi feline agility. Go for it.
All right.
Make an attack roll.
Attack roll. 12, 18.
That's going to hit.
Yes. And that does 1d6 plus 4. That does 8 slashing damage.
You, Melee, next to you, Scurry is there 1 minute, and then there's barely a splash of water as she takes off, and just instantly up ahead, you suddenly see, in the very dim light, all of you see, as the goblin coming around is suddenly headless.
Yes.
The one standing next to it, huh? And Tara and Melee. Let me see. Actually, it would be Tara. What would you do?
I'm going to go ahead and try to hit that one with another crossbow.
Excellent. Go ahead and take a shot.
14.
That's just going to miss.
Rats.
Your crossbow bolt goes flying wide. Undertow, would you do anything?
So everybody's he said they all back away from the river. Are they like up by the dogs again? Where is everybody at?
No, everybody's just. I imagine everybody just sort of moved out of the water and up against the side, up against the walls.
The one that's still up is the one sloshing through the water, or the other one?
He was the one splashing through the water. The other one had just sort of pointed at Melee, and he was just starting to look over that way when Scurry took off in a flash.
Okay.
So he's about 20 feet ahead of you in the water, scrambling for his weapon.
I would like to shoot him with my crossbow. I'll pop up out of the water and
I just picture this very Navy SEALs like.
Yeah, that's what I'm envisioning at the moment. Yeah. Pop up and hit him with my crossbow. I have a 19 to hit.
That's gonna hit.
What kind of crossbow do I have? Heavy or light? I think it's light. Yeah. So
I totally picture that from the old Navy SEALs commercials, just that sort of slow motion, just rising out. You've got the crossbow up like this, water just sort of cascading around.
And he's going to take 7 damage as I drop back down into the water.
So there's just this and the water, as you sink back into it, a red cloud of goblin blood and another goblin body goes floating past.
I don't think I've ever felt less squishy at level 1, and I'm really excited about this. And I know that
some
I've just
of your
cursed
dice
us,
are,
but that's fine.
Some of your dice are doing really well. All right. So you've eliminated a couple more goblins.
Jake, I'm going to check the decapitated one for any shinies.
Of course. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
17.
You pat it down and you find 5 silver pieces.
Nice.
All right. How would you all like to proceed?
So, Jake, are we at like the foot of the staircase? Like, where are we in?
You're more or less you kind of held your ground just a little bit south of where the bridge goes overhead.
Okay.
And the water had come rushing down at all of you. And yeah, that's where the goblins were kind of coming from, the other side of that bridge, from further up where Melee had described that she had seen them in that cavern area.
Okay. So is there a staircase up, or is it like
it's
just sort
of a gentle slope.
The cavern? Okay.
Yeah, it's just sort of a gentle slope.
Okay. Since that's where the guard is coming from, shall we continue? What are we even looking for again?
Gundren Rockseeker?
Oh,
or
yes.
Evidence of where he's been?
Yeah, yes. Okay. Shall we continue that way?
Yeah.
Well, just as a refresher, because I left this out of the recap.
Sildar, right?
Sildar Hallwinter, you had captured one goblin and interrogated him, and you had learned that Gundren Rockseeker had been taken to Cragmaw Castle, and that Sildar was being held in the eating cave here at Cragmaw Hideout. And that's where you were headed to see if you could rescue Sildar.
Right, because he still owes us money. I mean, also because it's the right thing to do, but the money.
Right.
Okay.
I can't let him die. He owes me money.
So I'll presume the lead again, Jake, and just going slightly more cautiously while looking to see if I can see any more goblins hiding out or any more potential traps that might cause a goblin ambush.
All right, everybody go ahead and, if you're going to be moving cautiously, give me a stealth check, and Scurry in the lead, give me an investigation check as well.
Stealth check. It's a 7, which is good. The investigation check was a 8. So... yeah.
So this is where the dice turn. I got a 2 on my stealth check.
I got a 6.
Oh, at least we all failed.
Well, I got a 14 again,
Well,
so I'm
alright.
just as stealthy as it was before.
Well, let's see what... with a +2 to stealth, Collie got a 4 on his stealth check. Try as you might, you can't help but splashing through this water, and when you're... now that all of the walls and the side path are all slick, you occasionally are slipping. You go to catch yourself and you clang your mace off of the wall. Somebody slips a rock and you let out a oh. You guys are not being quiet in any fashion. Scurry, you sort of make your way up around the bend, and you can see that there is a small set of stairs that lead up towards this cavern area. And the stairs are also wet. And with that 8, everybody else give me a perception check.
You said not me, Jake, for the perception check?
No, you already did your investigation. So I'm just gonna.
I could try again. I mean,
Well, you can roll a perception. Okay. Undertow got a 23. How'd everybody else do?
16.
7.
that's a 7.
Undertow, you hear the very distinct sound over the noise you all are making, just as Scurry is kind of looking at where the water is kind of flowing from one side of this sort of rock wall, stairs going up to the right, water coming on the left, and you hear that sound of clattering that you recognize to be stones being pushed over. You feel their vibrations in the water, and you hear another surge of water coming at you. The water comes much quicker this time, so I do need everybody to make a dexterity saving throw. Undertow, you're going to do so at advantage because you heard it coming.
It's 23.
Dirty 20.
18.
13 for Cully. And what was your dex save, Undertow? You're muted.
Sorry, it told me that if I pushed spacebar, it would temporarily unmute me. 17.
All right. This time you don't even need to use use your shape water. I mean, you can if you want, but the water seems to be coming from further away and surges a little early. So it's more like a single wave when the wave pool at the water park just starts to pick up speed. So it doesn't have a lot of oomph behind it. And there's a moment where you all maybe slide back about 5 feet, and the water rushes up to your waist, and then you sort of catch yourself, and it passes flowing the rest of the way out of the cave.
Scurry is still very displeased by this.
Scurry, you are very wet. You have that look of...
Very unhappy. Just quite agitated.
All right. How would you like to proceed?
So the water came from not the staircase. It came from.
So
where
no,
exactly?
it came from. So if you look at that second map that I sent you,
Yeah.
there's that cavern and there's two pools there that they basically just released the second pool.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
And it came along the path of where the water flows down the cavern. So you do have the stairs that lead into the cavern, or you can go the way the water came from. Water's still flowing, but now it's just that ankle deep.
Do you want to continue to follow the water so the Tide Mother can assist, or go up the stairs to see if we can hunt some more goblins?
I mean, I feel we know the layout. We're in that room, right?
Yep.
I mean, I will go up the water, but you don't have to. You guys can just go in the normal entrance of that room, and we can kind of like, what's that? We can. I don't know. You guys have like land bugs, like with the claw clacker guys. Pincher. We could pincher them. Like the land bugs do. Sea bugs don't pincher. They clacker. Clack, clack, clack. They're delicious, but it's different.
Tara is just staring at Undertow like, really?
I'm thoroughly confused, but sure. Tara, maybe let's go the route of the stairs and Undertow you clack and click and yeah.
No, like land bugs, not sea bugs. I'm not gonna clack them. We're gonna pincher them.
Pincher, yes.
Like
clack them.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
So Jake, I'll take the lead and we'll go up the stairs while Undertow does his pinchy thing.
All right. As you move around,
attempting to be quiet.
All right, go ahead and give me stealth checks.
Oh man, I'm just 11.
Dirty 20. Melius, silent.
I got a 10.
As you move around up the stairs, I forgot to roll for Bully. As you move around up the stairs into that area, you see the two goblins that are actually standing in the water by where that wall that divides the two pools is. It looks like they had just pushed over the rocks that released that second pool of water. And Undertow, you're coming up through the water, and you can see them, and they are looking in the direction of where they can hear Scurry coming, and Cully coming up behind, and one of them glances over and sees Undertow coming, and then just turns and says, "Delia," which you know to be Scurry to be, "They're here." Melee, you're still hidden in shadow, just out of sight. As from that room in the opening to the south, you can see there is some light spilling into this area. So there is a bit of dim flickering light. From that other room, there seems to be a fire burning. That room is quite bright, but it's momentarily blocked out by a massive shadow as a large goblinoid comes lurching forward down the stairs, and he wears hide armor, one shoulder pauldron covered in this rough leather hide, spikes across it. He bears a large wooden spiked mace his other fist, gauntlet spiked with this hide. His features, he looks like a goblin and a wolf combined. He is a bugbear. In that spiked gauntlet right hand, he holds a length of chain. At the other end of that length of chain is a snarling wolf. And flanking him are 2 goblins bearing scimitars. He looks around. Who comes defy Clark? Who challenge Clark? Who are you, pussycat? I will make a throne of your bones.
How big is this?
How big
This
is he?
bugbear? Yeah.
He's about 6'3".
Oh, okay, so he's my height. That's fine. I stand up a little straighter, roll the shoulders back, and then turn to Undertow. Can the Tide Mother help us with this one?
And with that, I would like you all to roll initiative. All right, let's see. We got...
That is a 24, Jake.
All right, we got a 24 for Scurry, 12 for Cully. Undertow?
I put it in chat. 21.
Melee?
Yeah, I wasted all my good rolls on stealth. I rolled a 1 on the die, so that's 3 for initiative.
Tara?
13.
All right, let's see. Clark has a 16. Wolf gets a 11. Okay. All right. Here is our batting order. It's going to go Scurry, followed by the goblins, then Undertow, then Clark, and then Tara, Collie, Wolf, and Melee, bringing up the rear. Scurry, Clark has just said this to you. You've got 2 goblins in the water, 2 goblins flanking Clark and his wolf. And he is...
4 goblins?
There's 2
4?
goblins in the water that had released the wall. They are... Everybody's...
Yeah,
the goblins in the water are about 30 or so feet away from you. But Clark,
Okay.
the wolves, and the other goblins are about 20 feet.
Okay. So, am I hindered at all with my moving speed being in the water since I'm a feline? Does that hinder me?
You're not in the water. I mean, you can move through
Oh,
the
I
water.
thought. Okay.
So first of all, there's no mechanical...
Okay. I wasn't sure. Given my
no, it's a good question,
hatred.
but no, there's nothing mechanically that prevents you from moving through water, and
Okay.
the water is shallow enough that it doesn't even consider difficult terrain.
Okay. So when Clark says this, Scurry kind of cracks her neck, pulls out her short sword, swings it around, and then immediately darts to the other goblins and is going to attack the nearest one with her short sword, naturally going for the head throat area.
So you're going for the ones that are in the water.
In the water, yeah.
Excellent.
I'm going away from Clark.
Yep.
I don't want to like him.
Roll the attack.
Yep. That's a one. That's a one. Yep, that went well.
You go rushing forward, and as you move through the water, you
Slip.
create quite a splash. You don't slip. As a reminder, I don't do necessarily that you hurt yourself or fall or anything like that, but you do sort of, the rocks are slick under here, and so where normally you are used to being able to plant your feet and take your swing, you sort of slide on the slimy rocks, and you slide right past this goblin, which does open you to an opportunity attack, which is how usually critical fails are resolved. The goblin swings out at you for a 17 to hit.
So if my armor is a 17, is that?
That is going to hit.
That's a hit? All right, perfect.
Just as a reminder, because many of you are new to this, but there are 11 domain dice. You can spend 2 of those to force me to re-roll.
Let's do that.
All right. Eventually, I will stop reminding you of those. Let me just fix this real quick. So you're going to be down to 9 domain dice. We re-roll that 13, it now becomes a 9 plus 4, so that's a 13.
Okay.
So as you slide, you sort of move back like this, and his scimitar shing right over top of you. And he does miss you. So that then takes us to, it's the goblin's turn. And they are both right next to you, Scurry, so they're going to take their actual turns against you. Both of them take swings at you with their scimitars. The first one, that is a 19 on the die for a 23 to hit. The second one is a 16 on the die for a 20 to hit. The first one does... let me just check something here. Scurry. You have 5 hit points, correct?
Uh-huh.
You take 8 points of slashing damage from the first one, which I believe knocks you unconscious. The second one had already rolled to hit, which, if you're unconscious, a hit counts as a critical. Which counts as 2 death saving throw fails. As you go down, you see Scurry rush up to these goblins, slide, failing to hit, and then both of them slash their swords out in quick flurries. And you see blood flying from Scurry. Scurry splashes into the water, unconscious, and begins to drift slowly with the current away from the goblins. That's just those 2. The other 2 are going to advance on Cully and Undertow. You're in the water, right?
Yes.
I'm looking over at the Twitch feed, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? You're like not reacting to me at all, because there's like a 30-second delay on the Twitch feed. So you're in the water. Melee, you are hidden. Let me see if he sees you. With a 1, he does not see you. And Tara, the other one is going to come charging at you. Cully is a... what's his armor class? It's a 12. That is going to be a... so many tabs. That is a 13 to hit Cully. Cully takes 7 points of damage. The goblin comes rushing in, slashes at Cully in a quick spray of blood, and you see Cully drop. Cully had exactly 7 hit points. The other one charges at Tara, flashing its scimitar out for a 16 on the die. That's a dirty 20 to hit Tara. Tara, you are going to take 4 points of slashing damage. Okay. That is all of the goblins' turns. Undertow, you've just seen Scurry drop and her body is drifting towards you in the water. A cloud of crimson blooming in the water around her body. Cully, off to your side, has just dropped as well. What are you going to do, Undertow?
I feel like I have to end the battle before I can recover people, because otherwise they're just going to keep whopping us. So I'm going to cast a guiding bolt at the bugbear.
Okay.
That's a natural 20. So that's
okay. So I do natural 20s are that you do automatic max damage.
Right. So the regular max damage is 24 from 46.
Yep. And then you roll the damage dice one more time.
36, 42.
What does your guiding bolt look like? It doesn't. What you see is that. Well, let me say this. It doesn't kill him. It hurts him very badly. What does your guiding bolt look like when it hits Clark?
It looks like, I don't know. I guess an anchor that just like jettisons from my hand and drives itself into his face.
And just like almost like in movies where the CGI doesn't quite hit the uncanny valley, he seems to almost impossibly fast just sort of ragdoll back into the wall and sort of stagger. And guiding bolt also causes him to be illuminated as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, the next I don't know if it actually has a mechanical illumination. The next attack against him is at advantage, though.
Yes.
Mystical dim light glittering on the target. So yeah, he's
so if you'll allow me to build
illumination
on your description a little bit. It's
Please
almost as if you form the water, like building on your earlier description of almost like water bending. It's like the water comes away from you and forms into the shape of an anchor. And when it strikes him and there's this sort of splash and almost audible clang as if an actual iron had struck him or anchor had struck him, it's as if he's covered in this sheen of lightly glowing water that seems to cling to him for a little bit.
As a bonus action, could I make an intimidation attempt based off how awesome that crit was against the goblins?
I will allow it.
17. It's a flat roll.
I think they are
immune to intimidate.
No, their charisma though is a -1. So that is going to be a 15 and a 10. Which goblins in particular? The ones that were sort of
the ones near people that they could like the goal is to like get them to like back down because I'm way more spooky than this bugbear.
All right, I'll say that it was the 2 that rushed in and dropped Cully and attacked Tara.
Okay.
Because they would have been the ones to directly see this attack. And they do seem to be intimidated and will make whatever their next checks are will be done at disadvantage.
Okay.
It is Clark's turn. Clark shakes his head, and there's this almost like wet dog look of him as this water that's sort of clinging to him. You come into Clog's house, and you treat Clog like this.
Is this in common or in goblin?
He is speaking in common.
Okay.
He reaches back, and as he does so, he drops the chain that he was holding his wolf by, reaches back, grabs a javelin, and in one motion hurls it at you, Undertow. And that is going to be a with a +4 to hit.
I mean, I'm laying in the water, so I'm prone, so he would be at disadvantage, but it might not matter based off.
With a +4 to hit, that is a 10.
Oh yeah, that doesn't hit.
As it splashes into the water harmlessly near you. All right. So he gets the 1 attack. That then takes us to Tara. You are currently engaged with the one goblin. He struck you with his scimitar, and then after Undertow made his attack, this goblin kind of is now looking at you almost like he regrets having attacked you.
So he's real close, like
he's in melee range.
Okay, I draw my rapier and hit him with it.
All right, roll the attack.
11.
He's so close on you that you're struggling to get your weapon out, and you take a swing at him, and he almost apologetically, because he's still sort of shaking from this, just sort of like blocks your rapier, and then just kind of looks at you like, ah. I'm going to recommend that you get some different dice. Or you do have over here, remember that you have these domain dice that you can use. I will allow that just because you guys are new to the domain dice. If you do want to use a domain die to attempt to re-roll that.
How many would that be?
It's 1. It only costs you 1 domain die for you to re-roll a d20.
I would like to do that, please.
All right.
Come on. You. Even worse.
It happens.
3 different sets of dice, and they're all being joyous to me right now.
I think you pronounced dicks wrong.
I was being nice. I was being really nice.
All right, so then that is going to, let's see, that was Tara. It's Cully's turn. That means Cully's making a death saving throw. I hate doing this for players. That is a failed death saving throw for Cully. Okay. So that goes from Coley to the wolf. Clark, after missing Undertow, he's still got his eyes on you, and he just yells, "Ripper, attack!" And Ripper is going to come bounding through the water at you, Undertow. That's going to be going to attempt to bite you. With disadvantage, that's going to be a 17 to hit. Does that hit you? I'm guessing from your body language. Because you're muted.
Oh, sorry. He actually gets advantage to hit me because I'm prone.
Oh,
it's melee.
Well, then in that case, it would be an 18 to hit you.
Yeah, that hits. Yeah.
You will take 5 points of piercing damage.
Yes.
And you're already prone. Melee, it is your turn. Nobody is currently engaged with you. You have line of sight on all enemies.
Perfect. So under her breath, Mei Li issues a curse towards this bugbear, Clarg. And as she says these words, this kind of a reddish mist comes from her mouth and engulfs the bugbear. And I'm doing the Hexblade's curse on him. So what that means is I get +2 bonus on damage rolls. I get a crit on a 19 or 20 when hitting it. And if it dies, I get 4 HPs.
Okay. So that was bonus action, right?
That's a bonus action. Yeah. And then as soon as that has gone off, she again shoots an eldritch blast towards the bugbear. Now I'm hidden. Do I get advantage on this?
I don't.
You get it anyway because of guiding bolt.
Oh yeah, you get it anyway. Yes.
That's right. Perfect. Okay.
I don't have to look that up. Unofficially and now officially, I'm kind of leaning on Brian. Anybody can shout out the rules if they know it, but I know, Brian, you have a pretty good understanding of the rules as well. Sometimes you have the answer quicker than I can look it up on on D&D Beyond.
Yeah, that's fine.
So yes, you do have advantage on the attack.
So that's perfect because I got a nat 20 on the die. So I critted.
Not to take away the thrill, but there's no need to roll damage dice. Clarg only had 2 hit points remaining.
Yes.
What does it look like when you Eldritch Blast Clarg to oblivion?
It's almost like, I think too, like Amelia is thinking, like she saw that big blast that Undertow had done and the Tide Mother, and she almost kind of says to herself as she lets this Eldritch Blast go, you know, like, bless the Tide Mother, and her blast is like the super powerful blast, and she's never really seen it before, and it just kind of engulfs this bugbear in this greenish mist, like almost like an acid, and he just drops, and Mei Li is infused with energy from this and heals because he dies.
Yeah, I imagine it as this bolt hits the bugbear, you see that it sort of eats through the bugbear. It creates this hole in him, and where it's blown this hole in his chest, you see like sort of around the edges of this hole, almost like the blood sort of floating in the air, and it seems to, in the tracer light of your Eldritch Blast, some of that, like what looks like blood, just seems to sort of and flow backwards towards you. When it hits you, you're infused with that healing energy. Let's see.
Yeah, and as soon as that is done, Mei Li would then kind of drop into a like her readied melee stance. So she's got her katana out and ready for the goblins.
As soon as Clarg goes down, all 4 goblins, they look around and they drop their swords. The wolf, however, is a bit more primal. It's still there. For all intents and purposes. Actually, let me just see, because it does have... Let me just see what it does. It senses. Oh, okay. It does, standing over top of you, Undertow. It's almost like you see this when Clark goes down. The wolf, it's snarling in your face, having just taken a chunk out of you, and then you just see its demeanor shift as it sort of skitters back just a moment, and then whips its head around at the sound of the scimitars hitting the ground, and then it sort of, you see its ears go from laying back to sort of up, and then one kind of cocks as it looks over, and then it rushes over to Clark's body. You can take an opportunity attack against it if you want, or you can let it just run away from you.
No, I don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to take an opportunity attack, or no, you don't want to let it run away?
No, he can go.
Okay.
It's fine.
Because that wasn't quite clear.
He's just gonna be a sad puppy for a little while.
And it runs over to Clark's body and immediately begins sort of almost whimpering, and only for a moment, and then it turns and it just sort of plants its feet, and it just looks at all of you, and with this low, it is clearly protecting Clark's body where it lays in the corner of the room. For all intents and purposes, you are now out of combat. You do have 2 characters that are unconscious and bleeding out.
I have I'll throw a healing word at Scurry, because I know he's down 2 saves. But I only have 1 to throw. So yeah. I mean, I can try healing Collie the old-fashioned way, but that didn't super work out the last time. I mean, it worked out for exactly what it needed to, but...
Well, so you can... So how much healing are you throwing at Scurry?
6.
So Scurry, you get 6 hit points, and you come to face down in the water, in a pool of your own blood.
On the plus side, it's diluted because water.
Right.
Right. So that just means I have 1 temporary hit point, right?
No,
If my
you
max
have-
HP is 5. Or,
You have 6.
okay.
You don't go into negatives.
Okay.
When you take damage, if you drop to 0, you're just at 0.
Right. No, I was asking if my max HP was 5.
No,
Would I be?
Oh, yeah.
Healing
Sorry,
word
sorry,
does
sorry.
not give you
Okay.
temporary hit
Yeah.
points.
No, you
Okay.
it just
Just
fills you
go
to
to
max
5.
then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
All right.
I misunderstood.
Yeah.
And you're going to run over. If you want to try to deal with Collie, you can just make a medicine check to see if you can stabilize him.
Could I aid with that, with Undertow's trying to stabilize him?
Sure. So you can make that check at advantage.
Uh, 19.
You are able to, the 2 of you are able to quickly work to patch up Collie and stop the bleeding, get him bandaged up. He is no longer dying. He is stable. We'll just leave him at, how do you do? Alright. He's just stable at, he's not dying anymore. He's just unconscious. Just got to remember to let Todd know. So when he looks at his character sheet and sees that he's in death saving throws, that he's not dead. The 4 goblins, especially the two goblins, are standing very uncomfortably as Undertow and Mei Li come in to heal Collie, who's right near them. Tara, what are you doing? These goblins are looking at you like they've dropped their swords, and then when they rush in to heal the friend of yours that one of them actually downed, the 2 goblins just look at you, Tara, and they both are like, What do you do?
I'm going to have my crossbow at the ready, but I won't shoot him just yet. I'll just make them extremely nervous.
And Scurry, as you come to in the water, there's two goblins right near you, one of which, well, both of them that put you down. And they kind of look at you, and they look at the others, and they also put their hands up.
I come to, like, kind of look around and, like, notice they're not hostile anymore. I go up to them and I question, do you know where this Sildar we seek is?
In Goblin, they say, what is a Sildar? I don't know what this is. Tell me what it is. I will give it to you. Please. We were just doing as Clark ordered.
Sildar. What was Sildar? Sildar was... What race was he?
He's human.
Human? Sildar was a human companion of ours. That is who we seek. Do you have him captive here in the cave?
The human one. He was in the eating
feeding
cave.
room? Yeah.
He was in the eating cave.
Where is the eating cave?
It is that way. You can go over there, over the bridge.
Are there any more goblins in there that we have to worry about?
There is, Yimik. Yimik watches over the human. He has a couple goblins with him.
Okay, so you'll come with us. You saw what happened. You will tell them to release Sildar, yes?
Whatever you say. The cat is his new boss. All your treasures are there in that room. And he was pointing over at where the bugbear came from, the cavern, where the firelight's coming from. If you are in charge now, cat, that is belongs to you now.
Excellent. I relay this information to the rest of the party and recommend perhaps that the goblins go in front of Clark's body with the wolf still angry at us.
I would like to, if you would be so kind to translate, to inform these four goblins that the one that is most incremental in acquiring this human for us has a place at my side in honor of the Tide Mother. Because I have the missionary background and I get 4 followers at some point.
Tide Mother. And that's a rough translation.
One of them just looks at you slack-jawed. He seems to understand your words, but not their meaning. But the other one, who's been very accommodating, yes, whatever you say. What is your name?
Not the stupid one that looks like an idiot. This one that's seemingly helpful.
Very good. I motion him over to Undertow and say that he's chosen you. If I have to translate in Goblin, I will.
Wait. You now want me to serve him? Whatever you say. And he does go over to Undertow, and he just looks at you and sort of kind of looks back at Scurry, and then just looks at you and stands there awaiting any orders. The slack-jawed one just is looking back and forth.
Do you speak common?
I can speak your language if you want.
Oh, look at that.
The Tide Mother gave me great power to weaken your old boss quite a bit. Aren't you excited to work on her behalf?
Yes, very excited to work.
This is a huge promotion for you.
Your new boss.
Yes. We need the human. So what kind of creature is Yarick?
Yimik.
Yimik.
Yimik is goblin, like me. Yimik is Clarg, second in command. But he was very pissed off that Clarg came in and took over the goblin tribe.
Oh, so maybe he'd be pleased to have no more Clarg around.
If it mean he is boss, then that would make him happy.
This is excellent news.
Yes, very excellent.
Undertow, remember the giant treasure room over there.
I'm getting there. I don't want to carry it myself. I'm not very strong, but maybe they are.
Whatever treasures you want, all of Clark's treasure in that room, it is yours. We will take it where you want. We can take it now. Where do you want it? We'll take it.
Can you just bring it out now so we can take a look?
He immediately starts barking orders at the other three goblins, and they seem to be listening to him. And they are going to move towards that room. You said you wanted to go take a look?
No, I want them to bring the treasure here for me to take a look. I'm still displaying dominance. This is still
okay.
A thing that's important to me. And I'm afraid that the wolf is between me and that door.
So the wolf is not between you and the door. The wolf is kind of all the way in that far right area where Clark's body landed, to the right side of that door.
Then I'm less concerned.
So you would be able to move into that room.
Yeah, we'll all go. I mean, me and the goblins. I don't know about I'm not going to speak for the rest of the party. But...
What about Tara, Melee, Scurry?
Scurry's coming.
Yeah, might as well go along with the crowd.
Okay. As you head, go ahead.
Melee will stay with Collie's unconscious, because he's still unconscious, right?
He is.
Yeah, Melee will stay with his unconscious body.
All right, so you head back into there, and you see that there are sacks and crates of looted provisions piled up along the south end of this large cave. To the west, you can see that the floor sort of slopes towards this narrow opening that descends down into darkness. And then what you see are piles of sacks and crates that are actually marked with all of them are marked with the image of a blue lion on the crates and on the bags. So you move into this area, and the goblins immediately start to go over and start picking up various boxes, and then so each one of them is holding up a box or a sack, a couple sacks over their shoulders, and then they just look at the other goblin, who then looks at you.
I'm specifically looking for small vials with red liquid in them.
To the others, he says, and they begin searching through all of the stuff. And there's an area on the other side of this that seems to be almost like Clark had made it his nest. And in there, they find a chest. It is a small, not very remarkable chest, but a chest nonetheless, and it is unlocked, so they easily open it up. And for a moment, you see them just staring into this as all of you can see looking in that there are quite a few copper and silver coins, like hundreds of copper and silver coins, and 2 gleaming potions with a red shimmering liquid inside them.
They look identical?
They both look identical. There's also a small statue of a frog with tiny gold orbs for eyes.
Excellent.
So for the purpose of whoever is marking treasure down, there is 600 copper pieces, 110 silver pieces, and 2 potions of healing. And the jade statue of the frog is worth 40 gold. And then there are the numerous boxes and crates marked with the blue lion emblem on them. And I think this is I just saw your note, Karen. This is a good point to stop for this session. As you prepare to go find out where Sildar Hallwinter is, you have effectively 4 goblins in your service, so you'll want to make a note of that. One of whom appears to be one of your new, I don't know if they're called missionaries or acolytes.
They're called
or
followers.
Okay, followers.
Acolytes. Yeah.
What is his or her name?
Are you asking him what his or her name is?
Yes, in Goblin.
You ask him or her what his name is, and he or she tells you that their name is... Dang it, normally I'm really good at coming up with goblin names on the spot. His name is Verp.
Your new follower's name is, well, he speaks common.
Oh, yes, it is Verp.
There we go.
You know, like
Excellent.
when you burp, and
Burp.
but you also, a little bit comes up. I could show you if you want.
Like a wet burp. It's fine. You don't have to.
All right. So, yeah, you can mark down you have a follower in Verp.
Cool.
And we'll let let Todd know what happened. That he got knocked unconscious again, but did not die.
We're gonna have to worry about concussions with this guy pretty soon.
If Scurry
He was almost dead.
roll me a death saving throw just out of curiosity.
16.
Okay.
I would have.
If Clark had not have gone down at that moment, you would have had to make another death save. And yeah, that was.
I know. Yeah.
Even I was a little worried about that, but
we were all keeping track. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a spectacular way to go down. Yeah, when 2 goblins attack you at first level and you only have 5 hit points, and one of them, I had already rolled both attacks when the first one knocked you out, and I was like, "Oh crap!" But that's the way the dice go. Oh yeah, Cajun Kevin in the chat. If you haven't checked it out, you can. It's on my Twitter feed. It's in the Discord, and it's on Twitch here in the clip section. We had this very peculiar glitch that happened right near the end of the session where my Tabaxi said something like, "We have a real conundrum here," and Cassie said, "It's a real." I forget how she said it, but it's a something kerfuffle of a. It was something that she said ended with S, and I can't remember the word, but she said it's a. She said it's a real kerfuffle of sorts, and it just kept going, and you can see all of us going. It felt like it was going on for like 20 seconds, but it was like 6 seconds. But that exact moment, that's where her camera glitched, and just on that drawn out S. And it was a serpent figure that had gotten away, so we thought she was just being funny. Yeah, so this ends the session 3 of basically bum rushing the cavern. All pretense of sneaking in went away very early, but you did survive so far. You know that you will have to deal with this Yimik, but you are that much closer to rescuing Sildar Hallwinter, and possibly learning more about where Gundren Rockseeker went. Plus, you've uncovered a cavern full of somebody's missing supplies and a little bit of treasure. So thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. We had a handful of people watching with us tonight, so thank you, everybody. And of course, a tremendous thank you to Yvonne, Karen, Brian, and Mike. And to Todd, who could not join us tonight. Hopefully in the next session, he'll be able to join us. Be sure to tune in on Thursday for the next session of the Dawnbringers campaign, happening here at 8:30 p.m. And on Friday, I will be over on the Nerdarchy channel for our monthly RPG Crate sponsored game, along with V and a couple other amazing players, DM'd by Nerdarchist Ted from the Dawnbringer game. And then we'll be here on Sunday for Jolt of Personality, and all the other great games that are going on here on the channel. Be sure to check that out. Check out everybody's various social medias. I don't know if I have everybody added into the... I just realized normally I have your Twitter handles on your screen, and I don't have those there, so I'll have to fix that and get you guys in the text commands for when they type your name. They can get all your where they can find you. But check everybody out, and thank you again. We're going to go ahead and we are going to end this stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.